people look at that and they always say, well, you didn't retire a Titan. And I'm like, well, I wanted to. I tried to. There's part of me that thinks, do they really appreciate, what we built?
Bullseye View. I'm the host with the most, baby. Podcasting for the masses, and I'm coming correct.
Got my man, Derrick Mason in the building. Yo, first of all, before I get started, I want to give you your flowers in the sense that I remember when I got here as a rookie, and I didn't know much about the Tennessee Titans, and it was you, Isaac Bird, and Joey Kent, man. Like, y'all was the trio. And y'all would, in camp, y'all would always be moving around, had your own little clique. Your work ethic is what I'm getting to. Because when I was a true freshman, I redshirted. We had a wide receiver. He worked his ass off, and it was Marvin Harrison. So that gave me an indication of what it was like to, if you want to make it in college, that's what you got to do. And your work ethic is just up there with Marv. So, obviously your career, Titans all-time leading receiver. Mark Andrews just passed you with the Ravens. So you held,
to him.
You held, you know what I'm saying? You're the all-time leading receiver with the Titans and the Ravens. And I feel like a lot of the work that you put in went overlooked. You're the only person in NFL history with over 10,000 yards receiving, 5,000 punt return yardage. You've done a lot. Played the slot, moved to the outside. So, for all those that don't know, man, Derrick Mason was a dog in the league. A lot of people know, but I've been meaning to tell you that for a while, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
But growing up in Detroit, man, Detroit football. What is Detroit football like? I can assume it's a lot like New York football. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Detroit football then compared to what it is now. I mean, I'm sure the fields are much nicer now than they ever were back then. What I come to find out is a lot of, kids my age back then, they all played on Saturdays. We ain't playing no night games in Detroit.
Play no night games in New York.
It's like, I don't know what the lights mean. The only night game we play is when we went to the playoffs. Because it was a grind for us. Yeah. It was about the love, but it was a grind as well, and we understood it.
How did you end up at Michigan State? You played for now is probably
George Perlis and Nick Saban.
There you go. Let's go. So you seeing Nick Saban have all the success that he had. What did he come into Michigan State like, and are you surprised that he has had the success as a coach?
I think you would be surprised any coach has had the success that he's had, and he's been able to extend it.
Right.
It was either his way or the highway early on. And if you didn't buy into it, I've seen guys, they were gone. Saban's about chances, especially if he sees potential in you. And I think that's what I learned early on, because there were some situations he and I bumped heads. But he disciplined me, but also allowed me to grow into whatever player I was going to be.
As you were a young college player, who were some pros that maybe you watched and molded your game after, or some guys that came through Michigan State?
First, it's Andre Rison. I mean,
I was going to say Bad Moon.
Yeah, there was, watching him,
same
growing
stature.
up, same stature. And man, I wanted to emulate everything. I cut my shoulder pad, my jersey and all this other stuff because that's how Dre Rison was.
Is that
doing
where you got your work ethic from?
My work ethic came before that because, listen, growing up in Detroit with older brothers, I had 3 older brothers. I remember I was playing in front of our house, and I had to play this dude named Corey. He was a big dude, and I couldn't do anything. And my brother purposely said, "You're not running any deep routes." And he handed the ball off to Corey every play, and made me tackle him. There was out quit, ran home. He came and and these are true stories. Like, he came and grabbed me and pulled me back over there. Like, no, you're gonna finish out, and I finished out. But then that's what built that. It was that seed.
You got drafted here in 97 in the 4th round. What were your expectations as a 4th round pick? Were you drafted as a punt returner, a wide receiver, or combo?
I think I was drafted as a returner / okay, if you can play wide receiver, then great.
Well, I should say expectations versus reality.
So my expectations was to go in there and prove to them that I can play in this league and play right away. It wasn't, did I want to be a starter? Yeah, but I wanted to prove to them that I'm ready to go. There was always you can play in this league. It's just when you get your opportunity, you got to make do.
What's the mentality like as a punt returner?
There has to be this fearless mentality. Once I don't wave for fair catch, I gotta go with it, and I gotta trust that y'all are doing your job. That was my thing. I would get back there and I would look at the two gunners. That's all I did. And when the ball was kicked, I looked where they was quickly, and if I saw them held up, then I'm like, I'm good. That's what I paid attention to. So you got to trust in those guys, and if you don't trust in them, man, you're not gonna be a punt returner for long in this business. And then once you see that hole, there's no hesitation. You got to go it, but you got to be able to navigate all of this while people are running at you.
Cool. So the very next year, they bring in Yancey Thigpen, YT, one of the highest paid wide receivers, and then they draft a number 1 pick in Kevin Dyson. So like sitting there when all this is like, did anything go through your mind like when these transactions happen, or it's just business as usual?
No,
because that means you boop boop. Yeah, you already dropped 2 spots.
I quickly got moved down the totem pole. Yeah, like it went in a matter of like months. It was like, all right, they signed Yancey Thigpen. I'm feeling good. Like I'm going to the offseason. I'm about to work this thing out. They go out in free agency, get Yancey Thigpen, and not only that, they gave him my number without even mentioning it to me. I just saw it on ESPN.
So you used to be 82?
So I'm like, yeah, but it's a good thing I changed.
Yeah, it worked out.
And I'm thinking like, oh, hell. So
85 is nasty work, though. I mean, you made it look good, though.
Yeah,
you made it look good.
That 82 probably wouldn't have looked as good now that I'm thinking back. But there was a point where, I didn't want to come to work. It wasn't fun. It was like there's nothing I can do. That's it seemed like they're not noticing that part. I had to go through it, and I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh man, I just stood up and knew that." No, man, I was like, "Damn, football! Like they don't see this. Like, why am I even out here giving them my all if they don't see it?" So you
actually was Houston, Memphis. Tennessee. What was that experience like, and what was the NFL like for you at that time?
It wasn't anything that I expected. I mean, we get here and we're in trailers and we're behind this little bitty office, but it's like, I don't know any better. We had showers that didn't work and flooding. It was 50-some guys, and those lockers probably held maybe 40. But we had fun, man. We had a ball there, and having to travel to Memphis, every game felt like an away game for us. Was it hard? Yes. But I think it helped build us as a team, and it helped set a foundation here.
You're a part of that core when I think of it, because I got here in the 2000s. So this team at the time was built around, Steve McNair, Eddie George, Frank Wycheck. What was it like in the huddle with those guys? Obviously, I was teammates with them, but being in the huddle and being in the room, what was it like, man?
I mean, you don't think about it from that aspect, because it's like, man,
you're working
right now. I'm working, man. I see this dude every day, and it's just like, it is what it is. But I guess it's just those moments within games. It's like, I knew that if he and Eddie were on the field, or just one of them were on the field, in those crucial times, we had an opportunity to win the game.
When did you notice, Steve taking that next step to becoming the eventual MVP that he became, and the offense shifting to maybe a little more, spread out to when it's more balanced, I should say?
I think a lot of it, the change happened when Mike Heimerdinger was hired. Steve started to develop, and we started to get away from Eddie and away from Frank, because the NFL was evolving. And if you couldn't, when you're going against Baltimore, you ain't running the football. When you're going against Pittsburgh, you ain't running the football. So you better be able to throw the football when you need to. And we were able to do that with Mike Heimerdinger. I think that's when Steve matured really as a quarterback. That MVP year and years after that, but for him it was just staying on the field. And when he was on the field, it was like he's playing through so much, you really ain't seeing the real Steve McNair. after like week 3 or 4 of every season, he's beat up, and other quarterbacks, they would sit out. He wouldn't, and you would never get the full effect of a Steve in there because of that.
Before I kick you out of Tennessee, what was your favorite? What was your favorite moment, game as a Titan?
Man, we can go to the playoff games, things of that, but I would tell you that Pittsburgh game. And you remember it, where Neil gets hurt. Mac isn't supposed to play. They just had him. I don't even know why they had him dressed.
Was it Three Rivers Stadium?
Yeah, it was in Three Rivers. Yeah, I don't even know why they had him dressed. But it was Mac. He had him dressed. I don't even know who was the third string quarterback.
Billy Bulluck, maybe
at the time. But Mac wasn't supposed to play. He was bundled up. Neil gets hurt. I don't know if Neil had a concussion or something. Neil gets hurt. Mac comes in, throw a few on the sideline, warm up.
3 warm-ups.
And just ran out there, man. And he led us on a game-winning drive, ultimately hitting Aaron Kennedy in the back of the end zone. I think that moment and seeing him, in that Tampa game where he dodges a player and then, hits it for 69 yards. I think we were still wearing Oiler uniforms back then. So that had to be my first year or second year. But just moments like that, Eddie, against the Ravens and stiff arm and, Ray Lewis and, supplanting that, because we were down in Baltimore at the time and we ended up beating him, which was another great moment. Anderson, and we all know he would come in. He would only come in on Thursday, something like that.
Gary Anderson would come in on Friday. He would come in on Friday for Friday practice.
Exactly, because he lived up in Minnesota and he loved fly fishing and all that other stuff. He would come in and just come the games and go back home, and it was okay. And he kicked 49 or 48 yards, and that thing barely made it. It was and that was like one of the most happiest times because that rivalry between us and Baltimore at the time.
What ultimately made you choose? I think what you have, New England. You could have went to New England or Baltimore.
At the time. I went to New England, and New England just reminded me too much of like college.
Right.
Like it was too much of Nick Saban.
I got you.
And I want, they're friends and sort of saying that same philosophy. But I went there, it didn't feel like home. And I remember being on the plane, right before I got on the plane, and my agent called me, was like, hey, Baltimore is really interesting. I said, well, if they have a deal in place by the time I'm off the plane, I'm going. Because to me, it was like one of those deals where if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. I mean, listen, this is...
Yeah, and then Tennessee, did Floyd offer you? Did they offer you anything?
It was just... And listen, for a long time, I held... I was bitter about it. At that time, I was still ascending as a receiver in my mind, I thought, and the numbers bared it. And then to go to another organization and continue that success... a lot of it was fueled because it's like, they didn't want you. I still got fire in the tank, especially when I play y'all.
What was the transition like? What was it like that building, that locker room, playing with those guys?
Man, it was an easy transition because like our locker room in Tennessee, it was the same. It was just a bunch of guys, family, and the minute I stepped in there, it was just like, all right, he's a part of us. Having those guys, Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Jonathan Ogden, when you walked in the locker room, these were leaders. And I was still trying to find my space that first year. But with them, it was like, hey, bro, we seen you. We know what you about, Get in. So I became another leader on the offensive side of the ball.
So for me, the game that sticks out, man, I believe it was 2008. We went up there and we played y'all, and I always knew that you talk shit. But when it was against us, you wasn't talking to me. You was talking to my corner. Yo, D-Mace told this man, every time you go, he's like, there's more pictures in the building of me than of you. Every time you go to work, you're going to see me in your build. D-Mace, I was relentless to the point I'm telling Buddy, yo, chill, bro. Don't listen to D-Mace, man. Stop listening to D-Mace. And then we end up getting into it because of your ass.
I remember we got a 15-yard penalty on the sideline.
Yeah, I remember.
Once you got me activated and engaged, I appreciate that. Now we can go. We can fight. We can, go at it toe to toe. And you're going to get the best of me, and I'm sure I'm going to get the best of you. And with Cortland, it was the same way.
Right.
Did I like his antics? Probably not. No. But it was like, now you've activated me. Now, I know what this is about. I know. But it was never, at least to me, it was never anything that I wanted to sort of, take outside that. And it ain't like we were cozy. And if I would see him, I would say, hey, what's up? And kind of go about my business. But when we were on the field, it was like, no, man, thank you for getting me activated. I wasn't quite ready yet, but now I'm going against you, so I'm activated now. So I appreciate, and he always played hard.
What were some of the matchups that you looked forward to, or some guys that like corners that you looked forward to going to because you was gonna eat their food? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I enjoy whenever I would go against Cleveland, I love going against just anybody in their secondary. Cleveland, anybody in their secondary. For some reason, we just always had Cleveland's number, or always had Cleveland. Cincinnati was the same way. Just seemed to be always had their number. Now, where there were times when I was in Baltimore, that didn't work out so well for me when it came to Cincinnati, and I had to, hey, listen, I need to do more playing than talking, and I was humbled very quickly. But for the most part, it was teams like within the division. And I love playing against Baltimore. I've had some success against them, and I love going against Chris McAllister because I knew, what type of game I was going to be. He was a physical receiving corner. He was going to be in your grill, long, and he can move like a smaller guy. So I knew I had to be, on my game. When I played him, guys like Charles Woodson. I love playing against Charles because I knew I would have Charles right where I want him anytime I wanted him. But Charles, he was good with some guys. Physical guys, big guys, but he had problems with smaller guys, shiftier guys, and that was my forte. I would get him in the slot just about every time and be able to beat him, off the ball or in movement. So I always played well when I played against Charles.
Your favorite wide receiver group with Tennessee and your favorite wide receiver group with Baltimore?
Oh, man. The best locker room is like when it was obviously myself, Kevin, Drew,
Eddie Berlin,
McCarron. That locker room with those guys, that receiver room with those guys, it was a bunch of fun to go into.
Did you have to take more of a leader role you were a leader here, but like even more of a leadership role when you went to Baltimore?
Yeah, because I was the oldest guy in there. I remember standing up in those rooms with those receivers like, dude, listen, the only thing that separates me from you, it's not your talent. The only thing that separates me from you is that I'm working harder than y'all. That's
a work ethic.
I'm not going to allow y'all to outwork me. I'm not. That's just, I will... As long as I'm on this team, you're not going to outwork me. They find a way of keeping that leadership where it needs to be.
You got to play with Joe Flacco as a rookie when he was a rookie quarterback. The Titans have a rookie quarterback right now. How imperative do you think it was? Because you guys went to the playoffs that year as a rookie. How imperative is it for a rookie to have maybe a seasoned veteran wide receiver in their wide receiver core?
I think it's key to the development. And not only a veteran wide receiver, I think you have to have a veteran that's reliable and available. It's imperative because with Joe was set up in a better situation than I think Cam is right now. The organization, from structure of the roster, everything is different. Joe walked in on offense. It's myself, it's Todd Heap, Jonathan Ogden was there. So we had guys around him. Just don't mess up the game. We didn't put him in a position to feel as if he had to carry the team. Cam is not in that situation. He's in a bad situation. I'm hoping this organization, I have faith in this organization that they're going to do what they need to do. I think this is a 2-3 year thing. You got to give this kid some time. You just have to. And you got to make sure you surround him with individuals that are going to grow with him, but also going to challenge him too. And allow him to grow as a player.
You said you was bitter earlier with the organization at one point. Were you able to find any closure?
I think now, I think it's more of a closure now. It was like, man, I would have loved to retire there. Because this when they was redoing Chris's contract, Chris Johnson. And I remember my agent calling And because I was like, man, I want to go back. I just want to finish my career out in Nashville. I don't want a lot of money. It's not about that. I just want to be able to go back home. And my numbers, I still was playing at a really good level, enough to help a team. And I remember them saying, at least my agent told me, well, we're working on Chris's deal. We can't, this and that and that and this. And I'm thinking like, man, I don't want that. Like, just give me whatever. I'm good. Like, I just want to be back home. And I guess there was always this, no, we don't. And from that point, I felt like y'all had an opportunity. Y'all had an opportunity to bring that somebody that wanted to come back.
Right.
And that wanted to be a part of hopefully change within that organization. But people look at that and they always say, well, you didn't retire a Titan. And I'm like, well, I wanted to. I tried to. There was no interest from whoever. There was just no interest. And I'm not the type of dude that's going to sit back and be like, kiss your ass like, oh, please. No, it's like, no. Okay, if you don't want to, fine. It is what it is. I hate it.
We got to be like that. We got to be like that. I remember when I tore my ACL, like I said, I was at the end of my deal, but shit, I could come back for the league minimum. Yeah. Be on PUP for 6 weeks, and we got this thing rocking again.
Exactly.
And
but that's just the way I felt about that, man. And then I held on to that. There's part of me that thinks that whoever is running, do they really appreciate, what we built or what we started? Like, you look throughout that building, you like, do anybody, like, you see people and there's been people there, but like, you look at it now, it's like, does anybody really know, like, how this thing was built? Like, and I don't think anybody, maybe I don't think they really tap into that.
No, it's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Mike Keith, the voice of the Titans.
Yes, so Mike's gone, and it's like
they don't have the history, and where can they get it from? So they're kind of like in like a little peril right now. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you like myself, I hope they get it together sooner than later. When you were playing, your kids were little. Yeah. I notice now, man, follow you on social media. You guys spend a lot of time. You do a lot of traveling with them. They're having a lot of success as young adults, man. How much joy is that bringing you to see your kids thriving and being able to do all these cool things with them? And as the old man now.
My son I can't say enough good things about him. This dude, I say he's much smarter than I've ever was or can ever be. He's an asshole though. At times he can be an asshole. Everybody knows.
How come he never smiles in his pictures, yo?
He's too cool for that, man.
He never smiles in his pictures.
And his mom and I tell him, his sister, he has such a beautiful smile. But he just don't. He's just got to play this role. He got to play this cool role. And it's like, I do whatever. So I love my son. But my daughter, I mean, there's nothing anybody can ever say about my daughter. That's a good person.
Right.
My daughter.
That's
like,
awesome.
She is, like, that's my girl. Like, no matter what, her and I, she could be mad at me. It throws off my day. Like, if my daughter... listen, I hadn't always been a perfect dad.
We try our best.
Yeah, try, and it's just a growing process. But that being a father, I enjoy just that and watching them grow and the adults they're growing into.
To close out, we just started this new segment called 3 and Out, where Nozzle shoot out 3 questions, and you figure it out. Nas, come on into the studio. Nas, come into the booth.
Word. It was great hearing talk about the Titans' history, and that kind of brings me to my first question. Is you talked about how being in the stadium, you don't really know if guys or the fans really know what you guys built, and I want to talk about for like a young guy like me. I'm 23, and I hear about Eddie George, I hear about Steve McNair, but I just want to know, like, what's your best, like, McNair story or the best story of, like, the Titans' origins for, young fans out there?
Oh, man, I think it was that whole time, from 97 to 04, the years I was there. It sort of helped, build a foundation or add on to a foundation, especially that Super Bowl year, because everything happens so fast, and you just wish, you look back and like, man, I wish everything would have happened. Wish we had 2 weeks instead of a week. But that whole time, it was fun. It was things that you remember about it, how rushed you were, things that happened in practice. But just those moments like that were great.
You've been here since, 97 in Nashville? Mm-hmm. So you came here in 97 and you're still here now. Like, how has Nashville changed over time? It seems like kind of you've grown with the city,
Yeah, it's changed a lot. But I think, once we, got here, things started to change, people moving here, Nashville Predators, also coming in right around, I think the same year we started. That was the year they started. We started in Memphis. I think they started here. I think that's how it chronologically went. But I always tell people, like, listen, Nashville is not Nashville. It's changed a lot, and that's great. I said, but Nashville's not Nashville. They don't have these two teams here. It's because sports has become sort of this front door to the city.
Been a heart of the city.
Heart of the city. And it bleeds into, you got a Broadway that bleeds into the stadium. It's like everything is. Or the stadium sort of bleeds out to everything else. And it's allow everything to grow within it. So this city is not this city without those two entities coming here. But it's changed. And it's changed for the better.
Whenever your number was called, you're ready to go. And I'm kind of thinking now, like, what was your mindset always, going through, having like that growth mindset, it seems like, within the NFL? And then what would you kind of tell, or what would you talk about these guys kind of, in college right now, and that, that transfer portal mindset is a thing, So I just want to kind of hear your mindset of throughout your career.
I'm glad these guys and girls are getting, what they, perceive to be what they're worth. It's, so many people have, benefited from their labor out there on the field or on the basketball court and the ice rink, that these players should start getting something, and it shouldn't have to be under the table where there's some type of violation. So from that standpoint, I am glad that they are. I'm glad that, hey, listen, if a coach, if whoever's recruiting you, if they end up leaving and get fired, then you should have at least that one right to, this is who drafted, he recruited me, he's not here anymore, so now I'm going somewhere else. It's become a good thing and a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing because you didn't know how to manage it. They opened up a market for these young men and women to get paid, but they didn't.
No regulation.
Exactly. No regulation, no education. No guidelines, No guidelines. It was just like, okay, here.
And now they're about to add in like the sports betting too.
Exactly. So it's just a lot of stuff that, goes on. So I don't know, thinking it's like as a college student, maybe I would have been a part of like, I want more money, or I want this, or I want that. But it showed me that I had to work for it. What's happening is you get an opportunity, you're not making the best, then you're blaming it on somebody else, then you're transferring. And it's like, well, they brought in the other guy. Well, they brought in the other guy because you didn't, had you performed at a level, maybe they bring in the other guy just to be there because they know you may transfer. But now they're bringing him in because you ain't getting the job done, but you want to transfer and go to another school. It's going to happen at the same place.
Definitely.
So.
Word. Well, I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
I want to thank Derrick Mason for coming through. I'm sure a lot of fans of Derrick Mason and the Tennessee Titans are really going to enjoy this episode, man. I appreciate you taking the time and coming through Bullseye View Studio.
No doubt. Anytime, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bullseye View. I'm the host with the most, baby. Podcasting for the masses, and I'm coming correct.